We're becoming the sandwich generation, still helping our children in one direction while caring for aging parents in the other. And honestly, I don't think any of us really understood how much life changes until we find ourselves living it. Hi, I'm Leslie, and if you don't know me, I work online in affiliate marketing, and I share my journey of building an online income later in life. In fact, into retirement, because this month I get my pension, my very first month. So the past week, I've been staying with my mum while we had a handover of carers, and it really reminded me why flexibility and working online has become so important to me at this stage of life. Thankfully, the new carer is lovely. I warmed to her straight away, but more importantly, mum felt comfortable with her too. And when people get older, that really matters because their routine matters. They want familiar faces and they want to feel safe, and that matters an awful lot. So it was a huge relief for all of us that things settled down quickly. But being there this week also made me realize something else, just how much Dad quietly carried every single day before he died. You never really understand what for better for worse looks like until the person who used to hold everything together is no longer there to do it. Because it wasn't dramatic things that he did, it was the everyday things, the appointments, the reminders, keeping my mum organized, listening to her, and the constant quiet caring, fixing her lunch, driving her to the doctors, all the invisible jobs people do for someone they love. And when that person is suddenly gone, you realize how much they were quietly managing in the background every single day. I think many of us only fully understand that later in life. When parents get older and when responsibilities change, it's when you suddenly become the person helping instead of the person being helped. And more I realize many of us are now part of this sandwich generation, still supporting children in one direction while helping aging parents in the other. And sometimes emotionally, sometimes financially, sometimes physically, and often all three at once. Meanwhile, many people are still working full time because retirement doesn't look the way previous generations expected it to look. The cost of living is rising. People are living longer, and many ordinary people simply cannot afford to stop earning completely. So, this stage of life can feel quite burdensome at times. You're trying to hold lots of different pieces of life together all at once, and while also trying to protect your own future. And that's one of the reasons flexibility has become so important to me. While I was staying with my mum, and this time I didn't have to do any of the caring because I said we had a transfer handover of carers. Um, I was just able to enjoy being with her and visit her as a daughter. I wasn't there as a carer, and to me that was wonderful. And we managed a couple of little outings while I was there, one to the hairdresser, and then um, over to a friend's for afternoon tea. And then another day we went to see her consultant. Didn't know this appointment was even booked in. It was something that my dad had arranged before he passed away. We hadn't seen any letters, and out of the blue, I got a text as a reminder to say that we were expected at a hospital at 1:30. And I'm glad I was able to go with her because at least I could ask the questions she probably wouldn't think to ask herself, or describe situations she struggled with simply because she couldn't remember them. And there's another thing I'm noticing more as people get older. Sometimes they need support navigating things, and it's not because they're incapable, but because life becomes more tiring, it's more complicated, and sometimes incredibly overwhelming. And honestly, I felt grateful that I could simply be there without panic or stress. My mum's 90. In fact, she's 90 and 6 months, and she needs someone to advocate for her, to help her, and to support her. I mean, she can't walk now, so she has to be pushed in a wheelchair, getting to where we had to go because she's not driving, all these things. Now, years ago, that would have been much harder for me because traditional work often doesn't leave much room for life. In fact, you book your life around work, and for many years that was normal for me too. But this week, it reminded me again why I'm grateful I started building online. And I'm here by accident. It wasn't a plan. It was something that just happened after my husband died, and then I realized the potential that was here, and that for me would give me the freedom that I needed to be there for my mom and my dad at the time, because my mom had appointments, my dad had appointments, and my dad was of sound mind. He was mobile, but he couldn't hear. So he needed me to be his ears. But what's been great this last week was, even while I was staying with mom, I could still keep my business moving quietly in the background. Before I left home, I planned my content for the week. Nothing complicated, the simplest of things to keep that presence online. But everything was prepared in advance. Then each morning, while things were quiet and the carer was getting my mom showered and ready for the day, I'd sit at the kitchen table and finish a few bits off. I'd reply to my messages, I'd schedule a post, and I'd check in with people. The business carried on without needing my full attention every minute of the day. And that flexibility matters enormously to me now, not because I want some flashy online lifestyle. Honestly, sitting on a beach with a laptop has never appealed to me at all. And in fact, as I get older, I don't even like the heat that much anymore. So what matters to me is something much simpler, being able to be where I'm needed with everything without everything else collapsing around me. And I do think many people later in life are searching for exactly that. Not millions of pounds, not sports cars, just a little more breathing space and a little more flexibility. It's having a little more control over how their days actually look. And affiliate marketing has genuinely helped give me some of that freedom, especially because I joined a program where most of the technical side was already set up for me. I didn't need to become a technology expert overnight, and I struggled with that one for 5 months and was ready to give up the whole thing. So when I first came online in October 2022, I knew absolutely nothing. I had no Facebook profile, I had no marketing skills, no understanding of funnels, traffic, or content. I genuinely thought an avatar was the blue character from the film and not my ideal customer. Every day is a learning experience, but that is how much of a beginner I really was. But what I've learned over time is that consistency matters far more than being perfect at all this stuff. Quietly doing the basics consistently matters more than trying to do everything perfectly. And that's really what this week reminded me of. Life doesn't stop needing you just because you're building a business. Sometimes quietly doing the basics in the background is enough. And sometimes that's what building a sustainable online business actually looks like in real life. It's not hustle culture, not working 18 hours a day. I don't want to work 18 hours a day. I'm closing the door on that 9 to 5, 40-hour week schedule. I just want to steadily build something that supports my life instead of consuming it. That's what I want now. And I believe there's a lot of you out there that want exactly that. So if you're watching this wondering whether it's too late to start something online or whether affiliate marketing could fit around your real life and responsibilities, I hope this video encourages you a little, because you don't need to know everything on day one. You just need to start somewhere. Now, if you'd like to follow along with my journey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to take a look at the program I use, the link is down in the description for you to explore in your own time. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.